Hi, this is Pam. I'm going to show you today how to make the folio that I will be teaching in Lamarck on April the 7th, I believe. So if you want to sign up and take the class and go to the retreat, just call Cropping Bug in Lamarck, Texas, and have fun on the coast. This is a summer fun, hello fun photo folio, and I used the Echo Park. I was trying to think who it was. Echo Park paper hello fun. So this is going to be at the book measures 8 inches tall by 5.5 inches wide, and we're going to start to assemble it, and I'll show you how to do the basics. I won't be decorating, it'll just be a blank book. So we have 3 pieces of cardstock, and you can use your choice. This is just some that I had because it's just a practice one. This is 12 by 10. This one's 12 by 10, so you need 2 12 by 10s and 1 8 by 10. You're going to have some left over, but we'll just cut it off and that'll be fine. So I've put 1/4 inch score tape on the one inside page on both ends, and I'm going to just peel this off and then stick this to the, I think you can see the I don't know if you can see the score tape, but it's just real light, and just make sure your corners are even at the top, or your tops are even in your bottom, and you cover the score tape, the part that's shiny, and just press it down and burnish. So that's piece 1, and then we're going to do piece 2, which is the 12 by 10 with 2 12 by 10s, and then we're going to have a 10 by 8 piece right here. This is the 10 by 8. You can see that. And again, I'm just going to place it over the score tape that's shiny and make sure I line it up straight as I can. It's not too straight right there. Get that up there. And then I'll just burnish this. And it looks like it has some shiny tape left, so I don't know where the eraser is, but we'll just put that. Doesn't need to be there. And then what I'm going to do is mark off a guideline for us to put the paper down. And I have a quilting ruler. That's not really upside down, that's just that is 18 inches long. So I'm going to just draw a line from the outside edge to the outside edge along the bottom at 1 inch, and that'll just give us a placement to put the so we can lay the paper down. I don't know if you can see this right now, but I'll show you to you when I get it drawn. And you can see, almost see the pencil line. So it's a 1 inch from side to side. It's 30 inches of paper that we're dealing with, so that's why I'm out of the camera sometimes, because I have a 30-inch wide camera. So again, we're just going to draw along this edge. Let me see if I can get it to turn down just a little bit so you can see there, and draw it again from end to end. And then on one end you can do a mark for 1 inch, but I just kind of start lining them up. And a hint I've learned from making all these is I write on my chipboard the size 8 by 5, and I also write the number that it's going to go down in, because these are only a 1/2 inch difference, and I can't tell you how many times I've put them on the wrong way and I have to take them off. So we're going to start with the 8 by 5, and I'm going to place it about 2 inches. You'll have plenty of paper, so going to start from either end, and let me get back out because this is going to be long. We're going to put this here, and then we'll put this is just to practice and see where we get it. Leave a space, and this is your 1/2 inch one, and then we're going to take the big one, which is the 8.5 by 2, 8 by 5.5. Then there's 2 of those, so we'll put these in, kind of just gauging. And then we have a 1 inch by 8 inch, which is your back spine, and we're going to put it with about a gap here, and then the it's 1, 2, and then we have number 3, which is the 8 by 5.5. We're going to put it right next to here. So you have your 2 large pieces on the inside, 2 big pieces or small pieces on the outside. And again, we're going to put this right here. I'm going to scoot it down some so you can see a little bit. And then we'll put piece number 4, which is your 8 by 5 on here, and just kind of line up and see where we are. And this one is, you could have made this a lot shorter, but unless you're used to making them, go ahead and use this paper. It's easier to do it that way. So I'm going to move this down a little bit because I want it a little farther to the end of this end, not the outside. This is not going to show, but it's going to be so I'm going to move this down. So right now we have about a 3-inch border on the left hand side, and it's about a 2-inch, actually 2.5, and I'm going to move this just a little more to get it a little bit better spaced right here. So that's kind of how I like it. I know you can't see it all, but there's the large, the small one, the 1/4 inch, the large one, the 1 inch, the large one, the 1/2 inch, and then your small one again. So now that we have the 1 inch line drawn down at the bottom, that gives us something to work with. And I've already put score tape on the back of these. I think this is 5/8, but you can use 1/2, whatever you want to use. And you want to be sure and burnish them down, which I've already done that. So we're just making it. And then I'm going to take this off, and then we will add some ATG tape to the inside of this. And also what you'll need is a glue stick I'll show you. We're going to put it over where the score tape is, because that gives you a little bit of wiggle room if you don't get it down straight the first time. So then I'm going to put the ATG tape right here, and just to give it some solid. And then the glue stick, you can use whatever glue stick you have. I usually use whatever this one is, the Scotch glue stick, but I'm out. So this is Elmer's, and it works just fine. So I just spread it over the score tape, and then a little over the ATG, so that it's going to continue to give me the wiggle room. And I'm going to see if I can move this down enough for you to see. I'll probably pull this down some. There. So I'm going to put my ruler on my 1 inch mark, and it's showing up just right here, you can see. And then I'm going to get this all unstuck and put my ruler back straight and put this down, and I just use my hands to kind of brace it where I where I want it and just line it up. Oops, it's off that. Kind of crooked right there. And then I'm just going to butt it up against the ruler and set it down. And make sure both sides are against it and just push it down. And now I'm going to move the rest of these over here out of the way because they get in my way when we're working. So now that we've done that, we want to add 1/4 inch score tape on the outside of the first one and just continue to do that. Something on there. There. So just put your score tape on here and push it down. And then we're going to put this 1/2 inch spine just right on this one. We're going to pull this off. Score tape off. And I'm going to put a little bit just in case I mess up. I don't want to have to do this over. I did one video and it was horrible, so I'm redoing it. And then just place this right next to your score tape. Right here. Press down and then put another piece of score tape right on the top. You want to just go from the bottom to the top of your chipboard, as close to that side as you can get, and tear it off. Okay, so now we have this in place, and we're going to put a large one. This is the 8.5 by 3, and this is the number 2. I didn't number the spines because I know which way they go. I just pick up the wrong pieces of paper. And I've already burnished this, so it should do fine. I like to use put the ATG tape on before or after I pull the score tape off. That way I don't get stuck up in my business pulling tape off. And just put this on. The glue stick around it. Seems kind of silly to do this, but if you try to get score tape up once it's settled itself down. So again, I'm going to check and make sure my lines are, my ruler is straight still. Put my hands down on it to make sure it's straight, and then line it up right next to that score tape. And get both of my edges down and just push it down. And then again I do the score tape on this side right here, and then we're going to put our 1 inch spine, which is the 1 by 8, and put it on right there. And I put 1/2 inch, and then I pull the tape up and put the other 1/2 inch so that it wouldn't, if it was going to be a little short, it wouldn't get out here on the sides. And you can always run it down and feel it, and just if there's any, just rub it back onto the chipboard side, the inside. So this is going to go right next to that one and push it down. And again, we're going to put score tape. I hope I don't run out of score tape before I get this down. I have more, I just don't want to stop and go get it. Ouch. Okay, so we're going to scoot this paper down because we're getting towards the other end. So you can see pretty much what we have. I'm going to turn my ruler this way so that it'll just easier to reach. Now we want the third piece, which is the 8 by 5.5 to go on. We're going to pull this up. When I had nails on, I didn't have this much of a problem, I didn't think. I haven't had them on in about a year. So I got a fungus in one of them, and it wasn't pleasant. Plus, I used my poker to do something, and I poked it in my thumbnail. And so I had to let that grow out because I didn't want to put anything over that big old hole. Which felt wonderful when I was doing that. Okay, so we're doing this. And pick it up and make sure we're straight again. And just hold it down and put it on. And we're going to put more score tape on. Again, we're just running it right next to the chipboard. There. And peel off. This is the half-inch spine. And put it down here. Oops. A little bit too much glue right there. So, then again, we're going to attach this one right next to the score tape. Press it down, and this is our last score tape, and I actually didn't run out. I'll need some more, but I didn't run out for this part of it because we'll use it again. You need the 1/4 and 1/2 inch score tape is what I use. So. This one off. Down and get this back straight. This is the last one. This is the number 4, and it's 8 by 5. So you can do the same thing as line it up right here and push it down. So now you have all of your pieces on, and you have some pieces left. You can probably learn to cut your paper so that you don't have to work with this much, because unless you have a really big space, sometimes it's hard to manage them. But you want to burnish them down and burnish your tape, this tape down. This is your spacers for your gussets, and we'll pull the tape, the white part off. Okay, now we're going to measure so that we have 1 inch on each side, on the outside of this, because that's what we'll fold over. So again, I just move my measure up to 1 inch, and yeah, I cut with a box knife. So just cut this. And you can save this, and you'll know how big to cut your paper before. You can do it with 8.5 by 11. The problem with that is that you have a lot of fold of seam lines here. There's only 2 in this, and that's why I use the 12 by 12 for the top part. For the outside, I use the 8.5 by 11 for the inside usually. So I'm going to cut this off, and that's it. And then you want to, I can't show all this on camera, but I'm just running the bone folder, not a sharp point, but just a piece all the way around here. I'm working that seam a little bit, and so I can just get this to bend, and we can put it together and fold a little easier. Okay, so I'm going to kind of just fold this up with my hands. Or if I use this, which is, you can see this, colorwaysart.com. It's a metal, and it just lines them up. And I usually just draw my lines, because then I have to cut it. I don't know where my pencil went. Right here, like that. And the same down here. And here. And then I just cut it with a knife, with my knife right across those marks, and like that. About right here, and here. I'm cutting a little inside the lines, but so you throw these away because you're done with that. And oops, put this. Now we want to pull this score tape backing up, maybe. Why this is doing it, because I got it a little close, but that's okay. So now I'm going to take my 1/2 inch score tape and run it along the outside of my paper across this top, and right on the edge of it. Just going to seal it to the chipboard, and then we're going to put some score tape, 1/4 inch across here, that will help seal this part of it. So there's really not much on here that isn't sealed to stay down on the chipboard. So, and then of course you want to burnish it so it'll stay down while you're working hard on it. There. And now we have 1/4 inch score tape that we're going to run from end to end on your chipboard. Just at the top part of your chipboard, you're going to go over everything. Let me see if I have any more. Yep. There. Cut out a little bit, but it'll be all right. All right. Now we're going to put this one to finish this out right here and up to here. Once again, we're going to burnish this and all the way around. And we're going to test our corners and see what, just kind of dry test them and see how they fold. This one is, I don't know if you can see, let me see if you can get in here a little low. Okay, see if I have a lot of excess right in here, so I'm going to trim it a little bit closer here. Oops. You can always trim closer, you just can't trim shorter. So I'm going to see if this, and then you're going to take your bone folder and just push this down. You see that little tip right here? We're just going to push it in next to the chipboard and then fold this over, and that one works fine. So we're going to see how this one works and push this down. Into that crease. And this one is just barely fine. I almost cut it too short. So it barely works. And then we'll try this side and see. So this one needs a little bit of a trim. Always try to just trim a little bit at a time, so I don't have any surprises, because it really irritates me when I make it too short. And then this will fold over. That one's good. This one, if it leaves a wrinkle in it, I usually just cut it off. So this looks good. Okay. Now we're ready to start folding it up. You want to get your, use art glitter glue, clear adhesive, whatever you want to use is fine. This one dries clear and it doesn't leave a streak. So take this pin out that's in here and the top, this little cap that comes with it off, and then we're going to pull the score tape off of this and these the two sides right now. leave the bottom one on. Okay. So we're going to back out a little bit again. We're going to put the glue, the score tape, all along this edge. Oops, this edge right here, just to the corner, and just to this, whoops, this corner right now, because that's all we're working on, and all the way to this corner. So from corner to corner, we put, you know, not a big huge blob, but quite a bit. So now we're going to start in the center and start to manipulate it so that it wants to fold down, and press it over, press it down, press it down. If you get some bubbles or something, just work them out. So now we're going to, out of my way, run this here, press it down. We're going to worry about this right now. We'll do something with that in a minute once we get all this done. So, and then we're going to turn our little tips in. I'm going to make sure that one's down good. And we're not going to put it down yet. We're just going to get it ready. We'll do all 4 of them at once and make sure. This was the one that was just almost short. So, and if it is, it's not the end of the world. It'll be okay. So we're going to turn this around and do the same thing. Pull up your tape. Corners. So I'm just turning, making sure my corners are tucked in here and here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to run this bead of glue right down through here, and we're going to fold. Same thing. You're going to crease it with your fingers. This is easier because it's smaller. I like it. And I don't know where my wipes are, but we'll just use this. And push that glue out. This glue dries fast. You want to make sure you get all the corners done, and then we're going to turn this around. See, it looks good on the back. You're nice and smooth. So again, I'm going to put my fingernail down here on this one, and this one still has a few issues right there. So we'll just run this down here right now, and so fold this over, and yes, it covered. Thank goodness. Tamara, the tutorial comes from scrappers at scrapbookers at Country Craft Creation on Facebook. You can sign up to become a member. It's free, and all the tutorials she offers are free. You can, she has page kits or kits every month, craftology kits that you can subscribe to, and you get a lot for your money. She has many tutorials. I'm not, this is just this Folio one. She has a lot of them. Mine was sized down because of the size that I'm having to make for this, but she is happy to share. You're welcome to teach them. Sorry, our dog's gonna bark. And my husband is screaming, so I'm just pressing this down here. Amazon is here, so they're not happy. So we'll just ignore the barking. Alright, so now we're going to close this, and we're pressing this down into this, folding it over, and this. Okay, so now we have this one, and we'll put the top on this, the cover on it, and I have it over here. These are 3 pieces that are 7 7/8. Can you see that? I don't know why I can't. 7 7/8 by 11. So we'll put, because 7 7/8 is what you cut the paper here. So we're going to put that here. And we'll put the second one, the large one, that's 7 7/8 over here. And then we have one that is 7 7/8 by 3. And that one's going to go right here on the top of this. But first, we want to put some tape on these hinges in this side here. So we're going to use 1/2 inch tape again. And we're going to run it just about right here on this, and you don't want it to go over where it's going to be coming out, where it's going to cover. You have like 7/8 of an inch, so you can pretty much go pretty far. But we're going to put tape around it anyway on the paper side. And here, this just gives it some reinforcement on where all the pressure points are on this. And I'll come back and do that one in just a second. So again, this is 1/2 inch score tape that we're going over the outs, or the seam, or the gussets, the spines. And so what I want to do is I want to pull this one off right here and put the 1/2 inch over it, because sometimes it's a little over and we want to keep it. We'll just put this one over this and put that back on there. So just stick that back on there for a while, because I'm going to work on these. So we're going to start with the 7 3/8 by 11 inch sheet of cardstock, and we're going to just run score tape the outside edges of it. And this is going to cover part of your score tape on this, and then the small piece will cover the rest of it. So I'm just going to put score tape on this. This is 1/2 inch. And it's pretty boring just watching people do score tape, but Right. Now, since this is running, it's going to run a long ways, I'm going to put a few pieces of score tape down this just to make sure that it sticks there. And then we'll put the ATG there too. So we'll do one at a time so you'll still be entertained by this score taping process. Sometimes you can hear this score tape pop, and that's just that it's sealing to your paper or your cardstock, whatever you're using. So that's why you burnish. The better you burnish, the smoother your lines are. Get away. And again, I'm going to use my glue stick because it sticks easily here. So I'm just going to put score tape all over this. The part that I didn't put score tape, I mean ATG tape, whatever I just said, just kidding, ATG tape. And I'm going to pull this one up because we're going to use it, part of it. There. So I'm going to put the glue over this, around it. And one on this one. So I'm going to pick this up. No, I've been out of the camera. Pick this up, whoops, and put this down. Let's see if I have any glue on the outside. So I have 7 7/8, and whoops, I didn't pull the rest of them off. Ooh, something weird. Pick it up and put this down right here, about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And I'm going to pull this up for right now because again, she's sparking. Burnish it. Alright, so now we're going to put the other large one on. So now I have the 7 7/8 by 3. So you already have score tape on this. You can just put the 1/2 inch on the outside because we want to make sure it's stuck to the outside base of it, and on the sides, and that should be all that you need really for that. And then you want to, I forgot to burnish this down. There we go. It's not 100% perfect. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Especially if this is your first time to do one. Just take your time, cut carefully, measure twice and cut once, or cut again and again until you get it right. It's only paper, right? So now we're going to pull this tape off. I'll pull it back in there. So I'm going to put tape on the outside of this, glue stick on the outside of this, and then some on this. I don't want to get it on that paper, the outside of that paper. All right. And then we're just going to put this even with your paper here and even with your paper there, and just drop it down on there. Press it down really good, and that's it. What I'm going to do is let this dry or cure for a little bit before I start bending on it. And you can see that's got a little off right there, but it's be okay. Just, you want to burnish it for a while and get it done. I'm going to start a new video on what we do on the inside, and when I do that, we'll come back and get to this. I think we can probably start to crease this now. So you just want to slowly, you can see me, slowly crease it on both sides of the chipboard, and then you'll bend it and find that other one. I never can. It's a 1/2 inch. You think I could find it? And then this one. And this one. So this is your 1 inch spine. These are your 2 back pages here. And then we have this one over here, and this one here. So we're going to crease them. Kind of shape it. Let this one go ahead and bend. This one. So you have this one, which is one side, this one, which is the other, and there's your book. You can look down in here and see that we'll put magnets on this because, and that we'll work with it some more to get it a little, but you need the magnets to make your spine ends lock down when you're, because they're gonna, or you can just use, I guess you can use a band or something, tie a ribbon on it, and we'll just get your spines a little more flexible when we come back to do that. So that's it. Bend it a little bit more, and I have a bunch of writing right in here. I'm going to take it off because some of that will be covered and some of it won't. But undo that. You can close your books, and everything's nice and smooth on the cover. Your corners look good. So you did a good job. Okay, I'll be back in a few. Thanks. We're back. I'm going to show you how to put the magnets on this, and you want to do it before you have any pockets. These have a positive and a negative polars, so sometimes the stickers are on the right side and sometimes they're not. So what I'm going to do is put them, if you peel off the paper, the I, or the minus, I guess that's a negative, and put them probably about finger away from that, and this one is attracting itself weirdly, so we'll see where that'll stick. These magnets are, I get them from Basic Gray, but they're out of business, so it's kind of hard to find these magnets anywhere. You can order them off of Alibaba, or I think Wish, and it's the same Chinese magnets that Basic Gray used to order. So I haven't gotten any. I have some coming in, but I haven't gotten them yet. So I have 3 minuses and 3 pluses sitting over there, and I know they're not gonna, it's not, so I'm gonna put this one about the same way, about right here. So that, and now we're gonna see how many of these are gonna play right. So that one stuck to it. Let's see, this one stuck to it, yes, and that one, so they all stuck. That's good. But what I'm going to do is, when you want to pull them off, you just want to slide them off. I'm going to pull this top one off because I want these 2 to stick first. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, so it's easier this way than fighting with it. And pull their sticky off, and then you want to just make sure that these 2 are even. If you can see it, that I'm just getting this even, and I'm going to get the spines even, and I'm going to turn it over and push down and push or squeeze right in here where they are, and then I'm going to slide this just sideways and pull them apart. So I got 2 good sticks out of that, which is really unusual. So then I'm going to put the 3rd one on, and it's going to stick. So we're going to just do the same thing. We'll let these 2 magnets catch down here and put this one up, and hopefully it'll stick. I don't know, just kind of holding it, and then slide it off, and it stuck. So you're going to push them down, and then put score tape over them until you start to cover it, because it's going to fight with everything you do. So just cover this up. And once you start to cover with your pattern paper or your designer paper, pull this off. So it will adhere to the paper too. Okay. Now you can probably hear it. Can't hear it click, but if you can hear it click, it did. And then to pull it apart, I just kind of slide them. I don't just put a lot of pull on there. So I put a mark on the front of my book, which is, I thought of a new word. I thought of front, so I would know which one it is, and I don't know if you can see that. But then I also drew an arrow pointing up, because you sometimes get busy and it goes on backwards. And I used this one because this one has a seam and I wanted it on the back. So you have a seam here and a seam back here. So, and as you use your book, it'll get easier and much more pliable. But I'm going to show you the ones that what we're going to start on. We're going to start on the inside, inside left page right here. And we're going to put a pocket down, and I already have these cut, and I wrote on the backs. I just didn't put them in order when I wrote. So let me see. This is a 6 by, I don't know why I can't see that, 6 by 4.5 pocket that goes on the left. You measure, score a 1/2 inch on your two short sides and a 1/2 inch on one long side. And then you're going to score, you're going to burnish them really well. And here, and this one. And you don't have to wait to put this on, because you don't have to. This should come right to the edge of your base page cover, and it does. So I see I have some glue growing down here from the score tape, so I have a little rubber thing, if I can find it, that'll take that off later so it won't catch on everything. But you're going to just miter your corners across here. This is on the bottom, across your 3 scores, and then I just do a little on the top so it will make it, it's not going to catch as much. And then I want some kind of opening for this. You can use your die cuts across here, you can use a circle punch, you can use an envelope punch, you can use just any number of things. I like the envelope punch because it's easy. So you want to measure this. This is 5 inches across, so your center is 2.5. So you simply just put your get in here. Put your envelope with your folded sides in on your 2.5 mark and punch, and that leaves you a notch. And so that's what I'll do on all of my pockets, and then it will work. Now what I'm gonna leave this up kind of close so you can see. We're gonna put some glue on this bottom part of the pocket and leave these flaps open, and you're gonna put the glue on this side, the outside. This is the outside of your pocket. I should have put my pen back in. So we're going to just put some glue on. On craft paper, if that's what you're going to use, it's going to take longer for the glue to dry than it does on any other paper. I don't know why. Maybe it has a coating on it or something. But anyway, we're going to stick this down so that it is just right on your original, your cover, and we're going to glue it down, and then we're going to do this. And now what I'm going to show you is a trick that Tammy Merrill of Country Craft Creations taught us, and I think that's really clever. Let me get my pen back on there. Okay. Packing tape here. We're going to put packing tape just right across here, not in this seam line, but just right here, and not into these 2 fold lines. So it's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off, and then we can kind of trim it. It doesn't have to go all the way across, but there, I'll stick that on there. So we're just going to put it right in here, and not on the seam line, just right above. And what this is going to do is it's just going to make it, everything slip in a tag or a picture or whatever. So now we have a slick surface for this to slip in, like so. And even so, when you put your you'll just put your pattern paper and tuck it in about below this notch if you use that. If you don't, you can put it in just an inch or two into your thing and it'll slide in. So we're going to glue this down, or if you want to wait till you covered your pages with pattern paper to put it down, you can. It's just, I just usually just stick it down in there. So then you fold this under and push it down and burnish it with that. And oops, just going to make sure that it didn't stick to the, see how it's already coming up. It just doesn't like to stick here for some reason. But you can see, you can move it around and it's not going to stick down here at the bottom where it gets hung on your little seam that's down there. Okay, so that's this page. The second page right here has a waterfall on it, and again I marked the pieces. This, I'm gonna zoom out a little. It's a little close. Right, this is a 7x4 base strip, and you cut 7 pieces of cardstock that are 7.5 by 4, and you're going to score on the 4.5 inch side down this 1/2 inch, and you're going to burnish them. So you can border punch. Let me get a punch and punch them. Okay, I'm going to use the scallop punch. You see that? The light is such a glare. Scallop punch, right there. I don't know what color it is now. I've had this for a long time. So I'm just going to punch the bottom edges of everything. There's 7 pieces of waterfall plus your base, so that'll be 8 that you're going to use. You don't have to miter the corners because everything's going to be covered with paper pretty much up to the very top, unless you just want to. It's your book. Okay, so we're going to make sure this is scored good, and we're going to attach this edge, folded edge right here where your score is, to the very top of this edge here. So then just put it right at the top and smooth it down. Make sure it's straight on the sides and burnish it down. The secret to making a good waterfall is to burnish it really well. And this paper on the one side of it has a texture, so it requires a little bit more burnishing. So put this here and here. Line them up. Just butt it right up. Can you see? Right up to this score, this edge of this top waterfall, the front waterfall. Just make sure they're all even. Your sides are even. If you have an overhang of a little bit, you can just cut it off, but you shouldn't. Burnish it down. And I see a little bit right there. Probably doesn't matter much. I'm just going to cut it off here. Ugh. Glue on these scissors is awful. There. All right, so we'll see it flops open. So we're gonna work on that, and it's gonna flop open for a while. But you can feel that. Go back and burnish it till it lies down really straight. Then we'll put, of course, we'll put a magnet or a stopper of some kind on it in. So that makes it better, and I forgot to punch the bottom of this one. Let me find it. There. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know why this is too short. Should have been 7, probably 7.5, and I didn't. Yeah, should have been 7.5. So I'll just cut this one off, and we'll have 7, and we'll just glue it, because this should be like, it is 4. That's not a 1/2 inch. Anyway, that's how you. If you do, I have one over here that's right. I don't know what's wrong with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess because I just should have 6 in there. So let me see if I can get one up. I'm going to pull it up, and it may not look pretty, but we're going to cover it anyway. Right here. Just glue all that down. Your paper's going to come all the way up to here, so it'll be okay. There, that looks better. I just can't count. So you have this one. I use the stub on this one and the scalloped on this one. And it's not glued in either, because I haven't papered that. So you'll just keep kind of making it work. Whoops, until you get it straight. And then we have a belly band for it. It's this one, which is a 2x6, and you can round these corners. Let me stick this. You're going to stick this onto your mat, because then we'll glue it all down to the thing. So you want to glue this right on here at the bottom of your score line. Whoops, that's not right. Glue it on the inside, because we want it to stick to the inside of the back of the paper. So put it right in here like this, and get it just as straight as you can, just like this, and push it down, and it'll stick. Let me get a corner rounder, and I usually use the 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch rounder on this one. I just like the way it so 1/2 and 1/2. So this is your waterfall here with your, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures, and it goes, oops, wrong book. It goes right in here, wherever you want to put it. Then the next one over here has a mini album that has 3 different pages, and I'm again going to do the cloud or the scallop punch on this, and I'm going to punch the outside edges of each one. This, and then we want to start assembling. You have a 5 by 7 and 7/8. You have a 4.5 by 7 and 7/8, and a 4 by 7 and 7/8. So you want to burnish this down, and we're just going to stack them up and glue them down. Make sure these are burnished. So you want to start with your smallest one, which is your 7 and 7/8 by 4, and glue it on top of your 4.5. The reason is because it's easier to do it now and stick the whole thing in the book than try to do one at a time. So, and I don't miter my corners because the paper will come up, and just run. This is on the outside of the glue, of the paper. So there's where you're on the outside. If you're going to fold it, and just butt it right up against this one, right to the edge, so they meet. Just hold it, and then make sure you don't have any wandering glue. Hold it down, and then this one, which is the 4.5 one. Going to put the glue on this right here. The glue's getting cloggy. And then we're going to fold it under and stick it right on top of the 5-inch one, just so it's nice and straight, hopefully. So now you have 3 pages, and you have this flap that's left that sticks out. This is your 5-inch flap. So what we want to do is glue it down within about a 1/8 of an inch from this gusset right here, this seam. You can see it, because we will paper this whole thing, and then this will be covered up here. So we're going to put this on, and glue it right up here. You should match your paper to your paper, like your designer, it's your first paper to your other cardstock. Push it down. It looks really crooked right there. Oh, that's why I don't like that craft glue. You can't seem to get it to stick. Let me put score tape on that in a minute. Alright, I'm going to turn it just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing and get it about 1/8 of an inch from the outside edge, so it won't get right on that seam, and then push it down. And then it's much better, straighter, and let that glue a little bit. And then we have another belly band, that goes, it's going to go right here, that's going to fit on this seam line here, and it's going to go here. So I'm going to round the corners of this, again the 1/4 of an inch punch, and you kind of want to get it in the center of this. So, and again about 1/16 of an inch from that, so that it will put it right about here. Just eyeball it and put it down. And you can do all this before you put your designer paper on, with the exception of this one, because you don't want this waterfall until you have your base on. And then we have a pocket over here that is going to be a vertical pocket up and down, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to score our, or burnish our 1/2 inch scores, 1/2 inch on 2 short sides, 1 long side. And then we're going to miter our corners. I don't put the tape on this side, this pocket, because it's such a small pocket. I mean, it's not small, it's just you're going to get very deep things in there, so they're not hard to put in at all. So we can do this, and then I'm going to use my punch on this. This is 8 inches after, with the folds turned in, so you're going to punch it at 4 inches right here, and there's that punch. So we're just going to glue these down. I'm going to glue this a little bit and see if it'll stick right there and right there, just for me to get it in smooth. I got it there, and then we're going to glue this down. And again, depending on, it didn't like that glue at all, right there. There. This is going to go again up against about 1/16 of an inch away from where you can see the seam. It's hard to see here, but it's where your chipboard ends, where my finger is. And we're going to do about 1/16 away from that, so nothing will interfere in that. But it's going to go just, it's probably going to just go edge to edge, because this is 8 inches and this was 7 7/8 for that. So you want to push it up so it's not extending out of your book any. And I see, I have to get that off. So let's see if this is going to stick. So then we have this one, and this one has an acetate pocket that goes on here, or you can put it on this side, doesn't matter which side. This is a stacked pocket. So again, we're going to do our same thing with our mitering and folding and but we're going to start with the top pocket so that we can stack this on top of it. Okay, this is the pocket that goes on the top. It's 3 inches by 6, and you just want to miter the top part of it and not the bottom. And again, you want to punch your border or your pocket thing. So this is 6 inches, so your center is going to be at 3, and that's not 3. Alright, I've done this every single time. It's 5. It's 2.5. I'll cut another one, but let's play like I did it at 3. And this one is 5, and it's 2.5. So if I was going to do this right, and I'm not going to stop the video to do it right, but I'll show. Let me see if this is. No, I'll just do it this way. So we're going to measure down where we want this crooked one, and it's going to be about 1/8 of an inch from the outside, and I'm going to put it. This is about 3 inches from the bottom, so that you'll have a little bit of room here. And this is, so I'm just going to draw a line right here. Excuse me, and that's telling me where I can do this and put it. I'll punch another one, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to make the tag, and then I'll fix my wonderful mistake right there. I guess you could leave it and it'd be kind of an abstract little tag. Be back. I'm back. I fixed the pocket. Now is in the center. I'm not going to attach these pockets until I get the designer paper on, mainly because of the magnets on the front. You'll pull this tape off and just leave the magnets exposed, and if I do this I have to leave the tape on 2 of them. So what I did was measure up from the bottom 3 inches, and then you'll just glue your top pocket right here, and once that's glued on and you miter these corners and get them like they should be, like that, then you just simply put this pocket on the bottom of your page, like so. And I'd stick it to the edge of my paper and right to the bottom of the page, so it will look like that, if you can see that. So you'll have your deep pocket here, and then you'll have your shallow pocket here, the one that stops. Let me see, I think I can show you a bit better right here, and oops, this is off, so then this will go right in here and sit down, so you have room for that. I wouldn't, you don't have to do anything, excuse me, special, just to add these, just put this one on the line where it goes right here, because this pocket will stay open. It'll go all the way to the bottom if you want it to, if you want the tag picture to go that far down there, or whatever you're putting in there. So these will line up your small one first, put it how far down you want it, and then put the second one on, and that's after you've done your magnets, because if you weren't using magnets, excuse me, it wouldn't make any difference. Okay, so this is the acetate, and I'm not going to put it on because I have to paper that. Nobody wants to look at it. So you're going to score a 1/2 inch, and you'll just score like you normally would, 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch. Come on, get in there. There. Score it. It's just going to be pretty much like everything, every other piece of paper you've worked with, and 1/2 inch. And then you want to, I don't know that there's any right or wrong. I guess there is a right or wrong. This is the silver is the, I guess can be the right if you want silver dots, but I'm going to use gold dots. So you want to fold this over and miter the corners once we get it varnished really well, and your score tape will dissolve into the paper that it's on. It's a little bit thicker, so it takes a little more pushing. Right, so again, you're just gonna miter your corners here and then here a little. And you cannot use, I can't get them to work. Let me rephrase that. Your punch to get any kind of cut out of here, it just chews on the paper. So I don't even try because it won't work. And then you'll I'll put this on, but you'll fold it up and put your pocket right in here. It'll sit there. And I'm going to put 3/8 inch score tape on. If you don't have that, you can just trim the 1/2 inch if you don't have 3/8. But so it's kind of hard to see right here where to put it. We're going to put it right on the edge, the bottom edge right here. And like that. And this one, and then this one, I mitered it so I can put it right on the corner, and I'll run it all the way up to the top of that one and just pull it off. And the same on this one. So there you have it. That's it. This and this will sit right here, and that will fold in, and you'll have a nice pocket that people can see through. And again, I would just pull it up about 1/8 of an inch from my base. I put the designer paper on. You'll pull your tape off your magnets and cover them with the designer paper, and then put this on there. I guess if you wanted to cut something out, you could kind of draw it and cut it with that, but it's not that important to me. So that's it. This is the pocket right here that we made, and it slips right in because we put the paper in it. This is your waterfall. I would use score tape when I start to put this down, because this is your thing that everybody flips, and you want it to not rip off the page while they're moving it. And I kind of put it in the center it from the top to the bottom. And then this one is your, you can get some 3x4 pictures here, oops, here. And if you want to make a pocket to go in here, or something right there, you can do that. I think in one of these I have put a pocket. I don't have any of the The originals, they're all at the store. And again, this is a pocket you can put lots of goodies in because it's got a lot of space. And then your stacked pockets, we've showed you that. Oops. How they'll go right here and right here. You can look at the sample that I sent and see in the pocket will fit here, and then it'll fit right there. And you've seen the acetate. So that's it. That's all there is to it. Thanks and enjoy.